Hello and welcome to day 15 of the 100 Days Consistency Challenge. Yesterday I spoke about health and how to take charge of your health and three aspects of your health you should focus on. If you haven't seen that video, check this link. I'm sure you will enjoy that sharing. I'm going to talk about my second principle today, which is courage. Courage is your ability to do something that frightens you. It's your ability to act in the face of fear or uncertainty. You can refer to it as bravery. One important thing about courage is that it can be learned. We all came into this world naked, scared, and usually crying. So anyone who demonstrates courage around you has had to learn it over the course of their lives. Now, of course, the kind of environment you were born into, the parents you have, the kind of results you've gotten in your life, etc., all of them amount together to determine the kind of courage you exhibit on a daily basis. But the fact of the matter is that courage can be developed. Another important thing is that your life unfolds according to the proportion of your courage. So the more courageous you are, the more your life unfolds. Let's put it that way. And Pastor Aaron will say, life rewards the bold. So you see that in this living that we are engaged in this life, courage is very important. So here are some thoughts I have about developing courage, and I think will help you. I just learned them as well, so I'm very happy to share. The first is that in developing courage, look from a different perspective. Now, what does that mean? Many times we are, locked up in our own little box, and we can't see past our noses. Maybe you can't see past your nose. Okay, but you can't see past your nose. So, in other words, you are just considering your own world and your own reality, and sometimes we don't see the bigger picture. So, a way to develop courage is to put a friend, for example, in your own shoes and try to look at it if you were your friend to advise you. Do you know what I mean? So having an external point of view where you are looking at somebody else in your exact situation and what kind of advice would you give to them? That usually takes us out of the picture and takes our sentiments and our personal investment out of the picture, and then we're able to look at the situation more objectively and usually more courageously or with more boldness. So that is one very simple hack to develop the habit of courage. Now, I also mentioned that I'll be talking about principles. So courage is also a principle. Like I said earlier, your life will unfold in proportion to the level of your courage. So it is sort of a foundation on which you can build other things you do in your life. If you don't have courage, life will just pass you by and you'll pretty much be relegated. And this is usually seen more in the workplace. People who don't push their work or make reference to the kind of impact they're making in the organization, who are not vocal about their achievements, usually just get sidelined. And then you see people who probably don't do as much but are very vocal and very articulate about what they are doing. They seem to get the promotions and the recognitions. Now, that doesn't mean that we should all do things half-heartedly and just be very vocal about it. Do the best you can, but the point in this message is to ensure that you are exhibiting courage in everything you're doing. Do it with your chest, do it with heart. Be very bold about whatever you're doing. And one simple hack, like I just mentioned, is to look at it from an external point of view. Look at it as if you are advising someone else who was in your exact shoes. What would you tell them to do? I can give you several examples. Say you are in a relationship that you are really considering what the issue is. Maybe there's always arguments and quarrels, etc. But you don't really have the courage to have that conversation or confront bad behavior. You could easily put somebody else in your own shoes and say, okay, look, if my friend came up to me, a friend that I love, came up to me and told me that, hey, this is what's going on in my relationship. It bothers me. It stresses me. What should I do? What advice would you give your friend? Now, when you give your friend that advice, then just take everything back to yourself and apply it. take away of course, I would say take away the sentiments or take away the personal investment, the feelings. Easier said than done, isn't it? But usually, if you're able to overcome the investments and the feelings that hold you down or that cripple you, then you'll usually be able to take more decisive actions and be more courageous in that moment. So that's one hack. Look from an external point of view. The second thing I would say is that you should gradually exit your comfort zone. Now, I got these ideas from a Medium article that I read, and I will share the link in the description below. But I think it is really important to gradually exit your comfort zone. That is, begin to do new things that you're not used to. I watched this TikTok recently where the girl said a hack that changed her life was her habit to always talk to strangers. So every time she's in the bus or she's out somewhere, she makes an effort to talk to a stranger, someone she doesn't know before, just walk up to them and talk to them. And she said it so happened that I think herself and her boyfriend were going out to eat somewhere, and then there was this stranger who she just approached and talked to. And it so happens that that stranger was probably an executive in the company the boyfriend was really trying to get into. And that was how that connection was made. And her life changed completely. Of course, her life and her boyfriend's life, etc. Now, I might not have gotten the details to the T, but the point is that just by doing something new, she was able to create a totally different outcome for herself and her loved ones. So do something that stretches you every day. It could be physically, like we spoke about health yesterday. So if you've been sitting indoors all day, being very sedentary, start something new. Of course, maybe you can't run 10 miles at once, but start with 5 kilometers. Take a walk around the block. Do something you're not used to. Get out of your comfort zone. You could start making YouTube videos like I'm doing right now, and get over your fear of public speaking, I'd say, or putting your face out in the public. Do something new. Talk to strangers. Find something that stretches you, that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's still okay. You won't die if you made a YouTube video. You wouldn't die if you talk to a stranger. What's the worst that could happen? They wouldn't beat you up, man. So do something that stretches you. Try to do that every day, and you'll see that over time, your confidence starts increasing and your courage is more pronounced, or is more visible. One more tip: turn on your videos during work calls. If you're on a Zoom call, also turn on your video. It doesn't matter. You're not going to say anything, whatever. Just turn on your video and be visible. That leads me very well to share a quote that I saw. I'll read it from here. It says, "Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen." I love this quote. I think it was said by Brené Brown. I hope I got that right. Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. Very important. Another important quote is, if you have the courage to begin, you have the courage to succeed. So start being courageous today. And the final quote I have for you: it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. So if you ever feel like, hey, I think I am more than this, I can do better than this, probably where you're lacking is in courage. You're probably lacking in courage. And once you can start implementing these suggestions to do something new every day, do something that stretches you, get out of your comfort zone, and look at things from a different perspective, you will be well on your way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.